Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Umstead, host of the RNG radio show, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. My next guest on the RNG radio show has been doing podcasting for oh so long. You heard him on all the platforms, and I'm just really excited for him to be here. He's also a coach in the same manner as well, looking to build pretty much with the same mindset. So another fellow mastermind, if you will, that's on the RNG radio show, none other than David Schwan. David, how are you doing today, man?
I am doing awesome, Daniel. Thank you. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in and inviting me on the show.
Awesome, man. So, David, let's hop right into it. What is it that you do, and a little bit more about what you do so the folks at home can know?
On the podcast side, I host a real estate investing podcast that covers a multitude of topics and guests, all aspects of commercial real estate investing, from apartments to mobile home parks to land, a little bit of everything in there for anybody who's listening. And then now my main focus is on coaching people to perform better and to become a better version of themselves. That's it in a nutshell, on the short version of it.
No, I love that. Now, you mentioned the commercial real estate, which is something that everybody listening should be looking into, or at least grabbing a book. But to speak on that with the coaching, what is it that you do differently with coaching? Everybody has different styles. I have some that, been on the show that do meditation. I have some that been on the show that combine it with exercise. What is it that you do differently, David, with your coaching, separate from everybody else?
Well, I think what really puts my coaching above most others is the fact of who I have been privileged to be mentored by. My mentor has been doing this for 60 years. And he was personally mentored by Earl Nightingale, who is Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant are the creators of the self-help industry. Before their company started, there was no such thing as self-help. You had books, but you had nobody actually teaching. You had maybe Dale Carnegie doing some seminars, but that was about the closest thing that you had to self-help before Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant. And then Bob Proctor spent 5 years with them, and then the last 50 years pretty much dialing in and honing in his craft of human potential and psychology. It is one of the most comprehensive and deep diving programs that I've ever seen, and I have been a self-help junkie for the last 15 years. I mean, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Jim Rohn, all of them. I've followed all of them. I've done half their programs out there. And then I got into the current program I'm in, and the way that they approach the human mind and the potential that the human mind has just lit a fire underneath of me. Their whole, I shouldn't say the whole thing, but the largest part of it is the fact that our mind is split into two sections. We have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Sure. Our conscious mind is what we think with every day. It's what all our outward senses feed into, taste, touch, and all that feeds into your conscious mind. That's where most people think that they think. And then you have your subconscious mind, which is the part of your mind where all of your habits and all of your actions actually take place. Your subconscious mind is the one that controls your motor functions. It's the switching board that makes you move, makes you do everything. Everything goes through the subconscious mind. But the conscious mind has the ability to think and to form ideas, and it also has the ability to reject ideas. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, is subjective. It cannot reject anything that is fed to it, because your conscious mind is the gatekeeper to your subconscious mind. Nothing gets to your
Right.
subconscious mind unless it goes through the conscious mind, unless you leave the door open. But that's something we can dig into a little bit deeper later on. So all your habits and everything are in your subconscious mind. And this program teaches you how to take those old programs, kind of like if you were running Windows 95 and all of a sudden you were able to throw in, Microsoft Edge. That's a huge jump. We're able to do that with our own minds. Most people don't really realize that. And this is also kind of the reason why it takes so much repetition to change a habit, is because it is programmed into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind doesn't want to be reprogrammed. It just wants to stay where it's at, which that's why we have to fight it. And that's why we have to be able to go through a certain process, because there's really only two ways to rewire or reprogram your subconscious mind. And one of them is through a sudden impact, a death, a tragic event. Maybe it can be positive, could be, a birth of a child, but it's going to be something that only comes around maybe a couple times in your lifetime. Most of the time it's kind of on the negative side, but those types of changes you can't control, just because you can't control a high impact event happening in your life. They just kind of, they happen on their own, really. You have no control over it. The other way is by constant repetition, kind of like affirmations or things like that, where you take and you have to drill into yourself constantly, day in, day out. It takes 30, 60, 90 days. It all depends on how bad you want to change and how much emotion and willpower that you're going to put into it. But you also have to have that repetition, because if it's a habit that you've had for 40 years, you're not going to change a habit that you've had for 40 years overnight without a little bit of work. The awesome part about that is almost all habits can be changed. And think of what I'll be open and honest here. One of mine was procrastination. I loved putting stuff off. Yeah.
I beat you 10-1, David. I know I did. If the door need to be closed, it's like, I'll get it tomorrow.
Definitely. And that procrastination, that is such a horrible one. I think we all fight it. But
Sure.
I've been a procrastinator for 40 years. I still am working on getting my paradigm fully reprogrammed. But the change from what I was to what I am now, through this constant repetition of rewiring and rewording how I attack, waking up, and I probably say 100 times a day, I do things in a timely and orderly manner now. I am so happy and grateful that I do things in a timely and orderly manner. That saying is what is driving me and what is reprogramming my mind to not accept procrastination. But you notice I didn't say I will no longer procrastinate. I say I changed that around. You got to flip that around. You can't say I will no longer procrastinate, because that still has procrastination into that word. And if you're thinking on it, whether you're thinking the negative or positive version of it, if you're thinking procrastination all the time, even if you're telling yourself, I don't want to procrastinate, you keep using that word. And the word that really sticks into your subconscious mind is procrastination, not the I don't want to. Our subconscious mind is kind of tricky like that. You have to kind of be careful on how you word things and how you put that information into it.
Sure. No,
but
and I mean, just to, agree with you 100%. I mean, that for the folks that didn't pick it up, I mean, that is an affirmation, that
Yes.
speaking life into it. We might think, somebody might be listening right now driving, and I say bag of chips. The thing that they're thinking of is like, what kind of chips is he talking about? It's barbecue, it's the flavor, and it's just that word, that we attach to it. So with that word, procrastination, automatically it's like, you know what? I am a procrastinator. This is who I am. And especially if you've lived as long as, both of us, since we've been around prior to internet ages, had no idea what TikTok and Instagram was until recently. But with that, we've been integrated and, for decades, I'll just be honest with you, for decades being taught subconsciously, hey, it's okay to procrastinate. And now we're in the prime of our lives mentally, and it's like, hey, we got to get out of that. And how do we do that is with the affirmations and, changing your paradigm with it. Now, David, from stuff that I saw that you put up and post, how does one actually change that paradigm? How can they shift that focus, especially for the ones that are trying to lose weight, the ones who are just trying to get motivated or deal with the day-to-day, task of their lives?
Well, first, we could definitely dig into the lose weight. You no longer, please forget that term lose weight, because our mind is designed to find whatever we have lost. So if you're trying to shed extra pounds, please don't lose them. Your mind thinks that eventually it needs to get them back. That's part of the yo-yo diet problem. But anyway, one change it.
Yo-yos. But
there's a lot of ho-hos that led to those yo-yos.
Exactly. You got me. Like, I did 5 push-ups today. I could just take a bite and be fine.
Yeah. That repetition, just doing the push-up or the curl from the counter to your mouth or the ho-ho, that doesn't burn enough calories to get rid of the ho-ho. I've done those ho-ho curls. They don't work very well.
Even if I concentrate, David, I mean, as long as I put some strength into it, I should be okay, right? At least 1.5 calorie burn per every 1,000.
Yeah. I still think you're on the negative side of that math. So no, I do not endorse the one arm ho-ho curl as a legitimate diet to shed pounds. I don't think that one works very well. But back to the topic of paradigms, it is forming those affirmations, and those affirmations aren't, and it's not just saying your affirmation. I mean, you should read your affirmation, say your affirmation with emotion, because there's a difference in between, you go, yay, my team scored a touchdown, and yeah, my team scored a touchdown. There's a difference in between the two of that. And when you're dealing with your subconscious mind, you need to put that emotion into it. You need to feel that emotion. That emotion is what drives those words and thoughts into your subconscious mind. You need that repetition. You need that emotion. The emotion, especially if you can tie love into it, because love's one of the strongest and one of the fastest emotions that will drive thoughts into your subconscious mind. That's part of why your why is so important. Is you have to be able to take that love and use that love to drive as an emotion to drive that thought into your subconscious mind. So you want to say it daily with emotion, drive it into your subconscious mind. You also want to write it daily, morning and night. If it's something, especially if it's something that you're really trying to change, and especially if you're, it's like, look, I got to get this out of my life, or I got to get in this frame of mind. I need, it's like, I really, really, this is ultra, ultra important. I'm going to put in the emotion. I'm going to say it at least 20 times in the morning, 20 times at night, and then I'm going to write it. And if it's something that you really, really want, I suggest writing it 100 times in the morning and 100 times at night. If you do that, if you go, and this is pretty much almost any paradigm that you can see that, okay, I know I can do that. I can get there. If you write that affirmation of, say with procrastination, we'll tie it back to that, that I am so happy and grateful that I do things in a timely and orderly manner. If I say that to myself at least 20 times in the morning with energy, with energy, driving it, and then write it 100 times and repeat that process at night before I go to bed. And when you lay down, the last thing that you want to do is, when you lay your head down at night, is just say it one last time as the last thing you do before you go to sleep. And then your subconscious mind sitting there marinating in that one thought all night long. And guess what? As soon as you wake up, guess what you do? Pick it up and you start it all over. Constant repetition into your mind. And this will change whatever your habit is. I honestly, I wish when I quit smoking, I wish I would have had this knowledge then, because it probably would have made my life a heck of a lot easier and a lot less painful to do that. It's just, it's amazing. The change and how well it works. You'd be absolutely amazed at the difference it'll make.
And I love that, with the affirmations, and it's a test to everybody, David, who is going to be even starting it, 20 times, writing it down 20 times, writing it down 100 times, because as we laugh, for those that were watching The Simpsons, 30 years somehow went by us, but for those that were watching it and seeing Bart Simpson write with chalk on the chalkboard, over and over again, as far as what he won't do, what he will do, so on and so forth. That's something that we need to do in our lives, and people need to pick that up, because action's going to come with it. I know, David, that action needs to go with it, but I think and feel enough that if folks write down what they're looking for and be specific, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, definitely.
If somebody were to say, like, hey, if you want a new car, what would you get? For those that love cars and are interested in cars, they're going to have everything down to the color of the seats, what the gas mileage should be, where I want the mileage at when I pick up the car, how many doors it has, the color on the outside, all that with the tinks and bells and whistles. So the same should be done for your affirmations. Now, we're not saying that every affirmation should be a paragraph long, but if you're looking for something in life, take the word out of it that's negative. We already talked about losing weight. What did you lose? Because if you lose 20 pounds, as David mentioned, you're going to be like, where did I put those 20 pounds at? I just had them. You know what? You do these ho-ho curls again. Try to get it back in there. So, David, before we continue on, because we're definitely dropping gem after gem, where can folks actually find you at online to get more about you and connect with you?
Both of them. The easiest way to get a hold of me is David Schwan on LinkedIn. In all of the social media, he'll have a contact, but there's not a whole lot of us. It's David Schwan in Nashville, Tennessee. There's only one of me in Nashville, so it's DAVID space SCHWAN. Search that. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Facebook. Those are the two places that I'm online most. And you can also email me at david@reispotlight.com. Again, that's david@reispotlight.com. And also the shameless plug for my podcast, it is REI Spotlight, and that's on most of your normal podcast channels.
And I was even just going to ask you that. So, folks, just Google REI Spotlight, David Schwan. He's the only one in Nashville, Tennessee, and you'll be able to find him. Some advice for the folks, David. What advice would you give to somebody? I know we dropped gem after gem as far as what everybody should be doing right now. I don't care if you got $1 million or not, or even trillions. What advice would you give to those who are looking to get started with their business, with their passion in life?
Buy Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Read it and do everything the book says. Don't plan on reading that book one time, because if you even read the book once, you didn't pay attention to the book, because the book tells you in the book to go back and reread it. So get Think and Grow Rich and do what it says. I'm a paid coach, and probably 80% of what I do is based off of that book. I can help you get there probably a little bit faster because I have a mentor and I have some processes that put it on top of it. But hey, if you got $20 and you're trying to get started, go take that $20, go buy you a copy of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and just read it and keep reading it. Like I said, my mentor, he has been reading that book every day since 1963. So, and the results are there. And I have no problem saying that if you read that book and you do what it says, you will get whatever it is you want. And that's wealth, that's money, that's whatever you want. I mean, if you're a Christian and you're saving souls, that it'll help you with that. If you're Mother Teresa, if you're a fundraiser and you just want to raise, funds, it'll help you do that. The wisdom and knowledge in there was derived from 500 of the richest people at the beginning of the 20th century. That book took Napoleon Hill 23 years to gather all the information that is in there. And it has been used for, the last 100 years. That book has been used to create millionaire after millionaire after millionaire. So that is my biggest piece of information and biggest piece of advice for anybody that wants to succeed.
I love that.
Get that book, read it.
I absolutely love it. My biggest mistake for the folks that should be knowing this, so that way they can see my timeline. I came across the book a year ago. Had I come across the book when I was supposed to have come across the book, when it was handed to me and I said, not reading this. See this? It's black and white cover. I'm not even worried about that. The vast amount of information that's in there, just even the first chapter alone. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to see clearly as to what you are able to produce in this life. You are able to think clearly. And we're living in a world now that anything that you are looking for can just be searched online. Any passion that you are trying to find out in life can be just looked for online. I think I was looking to add an image to my Gmail signature because I saw it one time and I'm like, well, how do I do that? Oh, I could go to YouTube. And sure enough, YouTube made me feel like a dinosaur because they showed a video from 2011 that still applied to today. And I'm like, that's fine. I needed a fresh tutorial. That was all. So it's available out there now as it was. I mean, if Napoleon Hill had the chosen resources that we have right now, exploding across the net, like, wait, I can reach millions just by sitting from home. I've been on this third book and move forward. So it's, wow. Just folks, just get it. But more importantly, definitely get in contact with David. David, where else can we find you again on social media before I let you go?
So social media is going to be Facebook, and that's just going to be David Schwan. There's quite a few accounts on there, but if you really want to get a hold of me, LinkedIn is definitely the social media outlet that I am constantly on. And again, that's just David Schwan on LinkedIn, and there'll be a link in the show notes. I'm pretty sure that you can just click and follow, and we'll get you right there. But yeah, just LinkedIn's going to be the fastest and easiest. And like I said, if you want to shoot me an email, it's david@reispotlight.com. No hyphens, just all straight one word. So those would be the two easiest ways to get a hold of me.
Okay, awesome. And the last thing before I let you go, David, is there anything else folks should know about you with the coaching program or even with the commercial real estate before we depart?
On either side, I'd love to talk about it. If on the coaching side, if you want to email me or just hit me up on LinkedIn, I'm more than happy to give you a half-hour free coaching session. Just to see where you're at, see what pointers I can give you. I don't hold nothing back if I'm coaching you, even if it's for free. I'm going to give you the best I have. So if you're, if you're in the real estate sector, or if you're just new in business and wanting to launch and just want a little bit of feedback, I'm more than happy to give you a hand. So just reach out to me. I'll do a free half-hour coaching session with you. So just reach out. I'm ready to help.
Awesome. David, thank you so much for your humbleness, and just greatly appreciate having you on here. I'm definitely looking forward to having you back on. I definitely want to dive more into the paradigms and how folks need to get them shifted ASAP. But if you folks can't wait until David gets back on, be sure to check him out, or just send him an email, david@reispotlight.com. So David, thanks again for being on the RNG radio show, man. I greatly appreciate having you here.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on, and thanks to all your listeners for tuning in.
Oh, definitely. And for the folks at home, be sure to check out the RNG radio show Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. on Facebook Live, or you can catch the replay with great interviews such as these with my man, David Schwan, on Spotify, as well as other channels and YouTube. David, thanks again for coming on the show, man.
Thank you again for having me on.
Fleslet on the beat.